ask you something. What is your message? What is the thing that you are here to truly share with the world, with your audience, with your clients, with the people that are listening or seeing you right now? Because having clarity in your message and really understanding what it is that you stand for is going to be the thing that will literally make or break your business, especially in the world that we live in, where there's so much market saturation, so many people selling to your same audience, selling similar offers and doing similar things without figuring out what you actually stand for, what you believe in, what your message really is. You're going to end up getting lost in the crowd. And this is exactly what I want to cover with you in this episode today. Because a lot of the coaches that I talk to are kind of lost in regards to what their message is and what really matters to them and what they actually want to share and say with the world, which is really interesting to me because ultimately that's what you're here to do. And so what I see happening very often is that we begin by thinking about what is the gap in the market? What is my expertise? Where is my knowledge? What are the things that I know how to do best? And how do I build an entire business around this? How do I market myself? Where do I get clients? Do I run ads? Do I go on Instagram? Do I do YouTube? Do I start a podcast? Do I create a webinar? How do I bring in clients? And your whole process is all about the transaction part of your business. How to make more money ultimately, how to grow, how to scale, how to create more. And oftentimes what happens is that we get so in the nitty-gritty of that entire system and process and like the day-to-day process of all of this that we forget that ultimately the thing that we're here to do is share a message that will transform people's lives. In the work that you do as a coach, as an expert, you're helping people, you're uncovering a lot of different things, you're doing assessments for them, you're diving deep into different questions that will help them understand more of who they are and what they're here to do and how they can transform in their health and their relationships and their businesses in all of these different areas, right? And so we really skip through the part of figuring out that message piece. And so what happens is that we're so focused on marketing and so focused on these things that we don't really take the time to truly figure out, well, what do I want to be known for? And this is literally what happened to me. When I started my business, I dove deep into marketing practices and all these things, but I hadn't found my true voice. And because of that, all of my marketing efforts and all of the money that I was spending and all of the time that I was taking into building and creating and showing up was moving me forward at a much slower pace that I figured or that I really wanted to, right? With all of the output that I was creating, without all the money that I was investing in myself and my business, I felt like the results of that should have been bigger at the time. And now I realize that the actual reason why this was happening was because I did not know what I stood for. I didn't really understand my actual message and what I believed in. And so therefore, I ended up sounding like everybody else. And to be honest with you, this is where I started, and this is where probably most of us start, right? Joining a program that teaches us how to do things and us thinking, okay, well, what they're teaching me is what I need to be teaching as well. And so yes, we're changing it, we're tweaking it slightly, but it was still my coach's voice. It wasn't my own. And I was following all of these programs and all of these different things that we're talking about marketing, and we're talking about how to approach messaging and how to approach a lot of different things from their perspective and what worked for them, but not from me trying to figure out, well, what do I actually want to say? And so for me, this is a process that has taken some time to figure out, but I really figured out and understood that finding my own concepts, my own frameworks, my own systems and processes really made a massive difference. And listen, I've had a framework created in my own business almost since the beginning. I clearly remember when I was on a call with a client in 2018, January of 2018, and as I was trying to explain to her the work that we did in terms of messaging, I came up with the idea of showing it to her through a pyramid and telling her, well, business is like a pyramid, and most people try to begin in marketing, but really the solid bottom of that pyramid is your message and then your offer. And without realizing it, I created the first beginning part of my framework, which I call the Breakthrough Brand Pyramid Framework. And so great, right? That's good that we have a process for that. But what I'm talking about here today, about finding your message, isn't just about your framework or your methodology or your process. It's about going deep and thinking about, what is it that I actually do? What is that message that I really want to be known for? What is the thing that really matters to me? And how do I make sure that I'm sharing it with my people in such a way that they hear me and they feel like you're my person? Because at the end of the day, there's so many coaches out there. There's so many consultants, and people have an endless choice of people to go to help them solve their problem. So if we want people to choose you, you have to give them a reason for that beyond the framework. Nobody wants the framework. Nobody wants the process. Nobody wants to lose weight by doing lunges and squats. It's about what you stand for, right? It's about what is the big picture idea that I'm actually selling. So for me, it became a process, right? I started with doing marketing. I started with building the brand strategy pyramid framework. And that was something that led or paved the way for the very beginning few years of my business. And then little by little, I went deeper and deeper into understanding the power of messaging and the importance behind incorporating that into the work that I was doing, which was awesome. It was great that I was figuring that part of the process out. But I felt like I needed more than that. And so from there, I understood that what we needed was more clarity in terms of our audience. So one day on a live call on Facebook, a Facebook Live, I came up with the idea of the Ursula, which is a big concept that I talk about in the work that I do. And the Ursula is the way that you communicate to your audience and how you don't want to communicate, where you're speaking to the poor, unfortunate souls, referencing the Little Mermaid, Ursula, witch, whatever, right? And so that was another layer of me finding my own voice. I had never heard anybody talk about the Ursula. I never heard anybody speak of it like that. And it came to me. And again, it was me going deeper and deeper into finding my voice. And the moment that I started speaking more about the Ursula, more and more people started resonating with me. And then from there, it evolved for me into developing the angle of mastery concept, the need to have formula concept, and these deeper concepts that were my own. It wasn't something that I was learning from anybody else. It wasn't anything that I was copying from my coach. It was me creating my own version of messaging. Obviously, I was learning from other people, but it was me coming up with my new own concepts, my ideas, my big picture kind of message that I really wanted to share. And what's happened in my own business is that the more that I've incorporated these things and I've turned them into processes, into proven frameworks, into systems, and into, again, the big kind of culture behind the work that I do almost. You know what I mean? It's like the vibe that I'm actually selling, the vision, the values, the heart behind my work. The more that I lean into that, the more effective that everything that I do becomes. The more clients that I attract, the more that my clients are getting great results, the more that my brand keeps on growing. Ultimately, what I'm getting at with this is that this is about you figuring out your brand. So how do I do that? How do you come up with these things? Well, I believe that the first step is for you to have awareness around the fact that you're kind of building your business in autopilot. Again, it's like, let me build the offer, let me get marketing, let me bring in clients, let me do this, that, and that, the other. Let me spend money on this tactic or that tactic or this or that. But without really, you need to have that recognition first of, there needs to be something that has to change. If I want to get to that next level of results, if I want to increase my conversions, if I want to make an actual impact, I have to be able to stand for something and not this just be me trying to sell my program and that's it. There has to be something more. So I feel like the first step is you starting at that recognition of, I feel like I want something more to share. And I feel like I want to build a brand. So from there, you want to ask yourself, well, what is it that I really want to say? What really matters to me? Recently I was talking to one of my clients who, is a kind of like a fulfillment coach, to simplify it for you. That's not what she calls herself, but to simplify it for you, she's helping people with fulfillment. And at the beginning, a lot of the things that she was creating with her messaging was about how you need to, get better with your time and productivity and all these things. And I kept on pushing her and I asked her, is this really what you want to do? Is productivity the thing that drives you? Is this the thing that really matters to you? What is the actual message that you're here to share with the world? And so asking that question, it led her to understand that it was about something deeper. It was about really breaking free and shattering those ceilings that we impose on ourselves because we think that that's the way that we need to do things, right? And so it was something more about feeling empty and not feeling fulfilled despite the success that you have, and really figuring out where does that actually come from. And so for her, finding that message that was beyond like just productivity or even just simple fulfillment really led her to create, I can't even begin to tell you the amazing things that she's creating. So what I'm getting at with this is for you is really understanding what is the thing that really matters to me. For me, for years, what really mattered was bringing in clients, but that wasn't enough for me to build an actual brand, right? Because it's like, sure, we all want clients. We all want to be billionaires, right? Like, of course we do. What is the thing that matters? What is it that I actually stand for? For me, coming up with the idea of not agitating my audience's pain and elevating the quality of people that I attract by elevating the conversation, by figuring out what's in my heart, what is my message, what do I really want to say through my angle of mastery, and through creating that need to have formula, that became my message. It was about what is my identity as a coach? Who do I show up as? How do I bring more of me, more of my heart, more of my message, more of my authenticity, more of my power into the work that I do? That is the thing that matters to me. That is what matters. That's what I can get up again and again and again. No matter how many times I fall, no matter how many times I fail, I will get up again and again for that. But just for bringing in clients, sure, is that enough to really take your business to another level? I doubt it, right? So for you, it's figuring out what is it that I want to actually say? What really matters to me, right? Beyond the layers and the stories of the things that people are telling you that works, what is the right marketing language? What is the thing that's going to increase your conversions, or how do I get more sales or whatever? Beyond that, what do you really want? What really matters to you? What part of you are you leaving out in your message because you think that you have to, because you think that it's not tangible enough, or the ROI isn't clear enough, and it's not clear enough, period, so people aren't gonna buy? What are the parts of you that are really important that you're not really including into your brand that is actually the most important part? The thing that you're really here to do, the work that you're here to share with the world. And so that's where you begin, by really diving deep into these things and then testing the waters. I had a coach once that would tell me, and I always love this phrase, you have to date the idea, not marry it, right? And so the idea here is not worrying so much about what is the whole world gonna think about if they see like how I'm shifting my message, or I'm doing this thing or the other, and just get over it. Share your message, test the waters, get out there, see how people respond, but see how you feel about it, how your passion comes through, how easy these things come to you. That is going to matter more than getting the message right, because the message is never going to be right until you share it and you come up with it and you get visible with it and get passionate with it, right? And so from there, it's about just being open to receive ideas as well, open to change. I built a business that for 8 years or 7 years or however, I don't even know how many, 7 years or something like that, was all about messaging, was all about building a brand that attracts, which by the way, doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. And then one day I woke up and I was in the middle of a very overwhelming moment, and I had this download because I was open to receive. I got the idea of angle of mastery. And so I was willing and able to change my message and to go deep and to really figure out, well, what does this mean to me? Why does it matter to me? And because of that, my business is really transformed. So it's your openness to receive ideas. It's your openness to see what's coming through and not being afraid to receive them and not being afraid to let whatever's going to come through right now. So you really want to ask yourself, with the work that you're doing, with your marketing, is this making sense? Like, is this really something that I should be doing? Or is this something that I want to be doing? Am I sharing a message that comes from heart? Or am I sharing a message because it's going to sell more, right? It's really figuring out what you actually stand for. I hope that this has been extremely helpful for you. I want to invite you right now to sign up for the Need to Have Formula secret podcast series audio, video, mini course. It's like this great system that I created where I walk you through the entire process to turn what you do from a nice to have to a need to have right now. You'll find the link for it below this episode, or go to fabipaolini.com/formula to find the whole system, sign up for it, and get all the details around it. You're going to absolutely love it. So make sure that you subscribe everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. You find me everywhere as Fabi Paolini. You will find all of these links below. And let me know in the comments below if this resonated with you, if it made you feel something, if it activated something within you. And I can't wait to see you in another episode really soon. Bye.